For the first quarter of the 21st century, if you were ultra-wealthy, there was one undisputed sanctuary for your capital: Dubai. It offered the ultimate cocktail for the global elite: zero-tax regimes, unparalleled luxury infrastructure, and an aura of regional stability. But in early 2026, the world changed. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into the Great Capital Realignment. We're analyzing a catastrophic shift in the global financial order, driven by military escalation in the Middle East that is dethroning Dubai and crowning a new king of global wealth. That new king? Singapore. Singapore isn't just offering tax breaks. It has engineered a fortress architecture built on 30 years of economic evolution, the strict rule of law, and geopolitical neutrality. So grab a coffee and let's explore the question the global elite are asking right now. Is Singapore the new Dubai? To understand why money is flooding into Singapore, we have to look at what triggered the exodus from the Gulf. On February 28, 2026, a joint U.S. and Israeli military campaign known as Operation Epic Fury was launched against Iran. This involved nearly 900 coordinated airstrikes targeting military infrastructure and senior leadership. The retaliatory response from Iran was massive and geographically expansive. Swarms of drones and ballistic missiles targeted regional states hosting U.S. military facilities, effectively turning the Gulf into a combat zone. For the billionaires and holding companies domiciled in Dubai, this broke the fundamental social contract of the region. Suddenly, the allure of zero income tax was completely outweighed by the kinetic reality of war. But it wasn't just the missiles that drove the elite out. It was the math. Within 72 hours of the first strikes, global insurers designated the entire Persian Gulf a hull war risk zone. Shipping insurance premiums for tankers and private superyachts skyrocketed by 1,200%. When your private jet costs $50,000 just in risk surcharges to land at Al Maktoum International, the zero tax benefit starts to evaporate. This triggered what experts are calling a silent migration. Families are relocating entire ecosystems, including multi-generational trusts and intellectual property. The driving priority for wealth is no longer yield or high returns. It is sheer survival. High net worth individuals realized there is a massive difference between domestic safety, like low street crime, and true geopolitical security. So, why is this wealth landing in Singapore and not London or Zurich? Because Singapore offers geopolitical distance, a neutral posture completely unentangled in the Middle East's kinetic conflicts or the West's ideological volatility. It's a jurisdiction where capital is governed, not judged. But Singapore didn't become a fortress overnight. This is the result of a deliberate 30-year phase transition. The 1990s, technology-intensive phase. The government aggressively anchored multinational corporations to build a first-world nation centered on high-end electronics. The 2000s, knowledge and innovation. Singapore pivoted to research, development, and life sciences, building integrated hubs to attract global talent. The 2010s to 2020s, connectivity and finance. Leveraging its location, it became a smart nation focusing on fintech, green tech, and digital assets. By 2026, Singapore's GDP per capita surged past $97,000, dwarfing almost every other developed nation. While security gets investors in the door, Singapore's highly competitive tax regime keeps them there. Dubai traditionally relied on a simple zero-tax model. Singapore, however, uses a tiered, incentive-based system that rewards long-term commitment. Here is what makes their tax code a magnet for the ultra-rich. No capital gains tax. Profits from the sale of assets are entirely tax-free. No inheritance tax. Wealth can be passed down without the burden of death duties. The VCC framework, the Variable Capital Company, VCC, allows the ultra-wealthy to silo their assets. You can have your real estate, tech startups and crypto holdings under one umbrella, but legally segregated to prevent financial contagion. By the end of 2026, the assets under management by single-family offices, SFOs, are projected to exceed a staggering $120 billion. To manage this, the Monetary Authority of Singapore updated their tax incentive schemes, specifically Sections 13O and 13U. They require minimum local business spending and strict AUM metrics, ensuring that the incoming wealth actually stimulates the local economy. It's a win-win. Let's talk lifestyle and real estate, because this is where the new Dubai debate really heats up. Historically, Dubai offered massive rental yields, often 6% to 9%, and the culture of loud wealth, gold-plated Lamborghinis and record-breaking skyscrapers. But in 2026, loud wealth is a target. The global elite are pivoting to Singapore's stealth wealth aesthetic. In Singapore, the billionaire next door often wears a simple t-shirt and takes the MRT. This low-profile lifestyle isn't just a preference, it's a security strategy. Singapore's real estate market reflects this. Foreign buyers face an additional buyer's stamp duty, ABSD, of 60%. While that sounds insane, for the global elite fleeing the 2026 conflict, that 60% isn't a penalty. They view it as a safety tax. It's the price of admission to a market backed by a strong currency that hasn't seen a crash in decades. Take Sentosa Cove versus the Palm Jumeirah. Both offer waterfront luxury, but Sentosa Cove offers it without being under active missile threat. But is Singapore truly invincible? Not quite. Its biggest challenge isn't the Middle East. It's the balancing act between Washington and Beijing. As Singapore absorbs more Chinese capital fleeing domestic crackdowns, it risks drawing the ire of U.S. regulators. The fortress has thick walls, but it sits on a geopolitical fault line of its own. The question for the next decade is, can Singapore remain a neutral hub if the U.S.-China decoupling turns from a Cold War into a cold reality? The events of 2026 were a violent stress test for the world's leading wealth hubs. While Dubai remains an incredibly capable and resilient city, it is geographically vulnerable to the volatility of its region. Singapore's transformation into the new Dubai is not a marketing gimmick. It is a triumph of governance. It proves that in a highly unstable world, having zero taxes and luxury villas is no longer enough. A true sanctuary must offer the rule of law, absolute geopolitical neutrality, and a diversified economy. As the great capital realignment continues, Singapore is firmly poised to remain the premier destination for the global elite, not just to grow their wealth, but to protect it for generations to come. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into global finance and geopolitics.